Late at night, when the house was quiet and the streets were empty, I would hear it, a soft, deliberate tapping coming from the ceiling above my bed. I live on the top floor of an old apartment building, and above me is the only roof. No attic, no crawl space, nothing, just air and sky. At first I ignored it. Houses creak, buildings settle, strange noises happen in the dead of night. But the tapping grew more persistent. Every night at exactly 3 a.m., without fail, it would start. A slow, methodical sound, like someone tapping their fingernail against wood. Tap, tap, tap. One night, curiosity got the better of me. I grabbed a broom and jabbed at the ceiling, thinking maybe there was some kind of animal up there. But the tapping stopped as soon as I hit the ceiling. Satisfied, I went back to bed. Then at 3:03 a.m., the tapping resumed, louder this time, almost as if it was irritated that I had interrupted it. The next morning, I told my landlord about the noise, but he waved me off. "Nothing up there, but the roof. You're hearing things," he said. But I wasn't. The tapping continued, every night, always at 3 a.m. One night, fed up, I decided to stay awake and wait for it. I sat in bed, eyes locked on the ceiling, watching the clock as it approached 3 a.m. And right on the time, the tapping began. But this time, it wasn't just above my bed. It was moving. The tapping began to travel across the ceiling, slow at first, like someone walking barefoot on creaky floorboards. It started at the far corner of the room and made its way toward me. Tap, tap, tap. I sat frozen, clutching the blanket like a shield. My heart raced as the tapping came closer, directly above me now, almost as if it knew I was there, listening, waiting. Then with a sudden bang, the tapping stopped. The silence was worse. I waited, breath held, ears straining for any sound. I wanted to believe it was over, that whatever it was had left. But then I heard something new, scratching, a slow dragging sound, like nails scraping across the ceiling. My heart pounded so hard, I thought it would burst out of my chest. The scratching was directly above me, and it wasn't stopping. It was frantic now, as if something was trying to claw its way through the ceiling, desperate to get in. I bolted upright in bed, ready to run. But that's when I noticed something. The ceiling was bulging. A small circular bump began to form above my head, pushing down as if something was pressing from the other side. The scratching grew louder, more desperate. The bulge expanded, stretching the plaster until cracks began to form. Dust rained down onto the bed, and then it stopped. For a moment, everything was still. The tapping, the scratching, the bulging, it all just stopped. I stared at the ceiling, heart pounding, trying to process what had just happened. That's when I heard it, a whisper, faint but unmistakable. "Let me in." I stumbled out of bed, backing away from the ceiling as far as I could. My breath came in shallow, panicked gasps. The whispering continued, low and insistent. "Let me in." I ran out of the room, slamming the door behind me. I didn't sleep that night or the next. The tapping hasn't stopped. Every night, without fail, it returns, always at 3 a.m. And every night, the bulge in the ceiling gets a little bigger. The plaster is starting to crack more. I've taped it, patched it, done everything I can to seal it up, but it's no use. Last night, the whispering changed. Almost there. I don't know what's up there, trying to get in, but I can feel it now, watching me, waiting, and I'm afraid that one night it will succeed.